We're continuing with the excuses that we may come up with as we ascend on this spiritual journey. Usha Chotai says, the Bhagavad Gita is too complicated. And Jagruti Thana says, the Bhagavad Gita is difficult to read. Yes, this is one of the excuses that people often come up with. They say, I'm not intelligent enough to read the Bhagavad Gita. I don't know Sanskrit. I'm not a philosopher. I'm not someone who generally even reads books. I'm a very, very simple person. Sometimes when I hear all of this knowledge, it goes in one ear and it comes out of the other ear. Some people say, I'm old, I'm an old. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. So some people feel that the Bhagavad Gita, the spiritual journey, is not possible for them because they're not intelligent enough to understand the knowledge given by Krishna. In the 4th chapter, Krishna answers this reservation that we may well have. Krishna says to Arjuna, Sa evaya maya tedya yoga prokta puratana bhakto sime sakha cheti rahasyam hyatadutamam. Krishna looks at Arjuna and he says, Rahasyam, this knowledge is very, very confidential. But Arjuna, this confidential knowledge you can understand. Why? Bhakto sime sakha cheti. Because Arjuna, you are a bhakta, you are devoted. Sakha cheti, and you are very, very friendly towards me. Dear friends, this is the only qualification to understand the Gita. One does not need to be a scholar. One does not need to be a philosopher. One does not have to be an academic. One does not have to have 5 degrees and letters after their name. One simply has to have a sincere and willing heart. One must be a bhakta, a devotee, and one must be a sakha, a friend towards Krishna. The Bhagavad Gita is knowledge which is understood on the level of the heart, not on the level of the intellect. And therefore, when we have a desire to understand what Krishna is telling us, and when we desire to actually then take that knowledge and apply it in our life, then Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam, I will give you all the intelligence required. In the 4th chapter of the Gita, Krishna outlines how we should receive this knowledge. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Krishna says, this is how you can overcome your reservation that is too difficult to understand. First thing is, Tadvidi pranipatena. Submit and go towards a spiritual teacher and inquire from them in a humble spirit as to what is the meaning of the Bhagavad Gita. But you don't just have to be a passive hearer, Krishna says. Hear and then pariprashnena, present questions before that person and try to clarify your understanding. And then Krishna says, sevaya, do service. If you're humble and you listen, if you ask questions and deeply think about what you're hearing, and if at the same time you render service to Krishna and show that yes, Krishna, I am devoted to you, I am a friend to you, then all the tattva, all the truth of spiritual knowledge will be revealed within your heart. The knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of spiritual life is not just about acquiring more and more information. Sometimes people think knowledge in the spiritual sphere is linear, so you learn more and more and more. More verses, more stories, more information. However, learning in a spiritual sphere is not about a linear learning where you're learning more and more, but it's about a spiral learning. In spiritual life, we learn in a spiral. We hear the same verses. We hear the same stories. We hear the same insights of the great teachers over the ages. And as we hear these things again and again and again, we begin to actually get to the essence of knowledge. And the essence of the Bhagavad Gita is actually very, very simple. You are a spiritual being. God is the Supreme Spirit. And if you give your heart to Him in a selfless, unmotivated way, then not only will you rediscover your love for Krishna, you will rediscover your love for everyone around you, and you will rediscover your love for life. It's so simple. You may just miss it. And therefore, don't be in any doubt or an anxiety that you're not intelligent enough to understand the Gita, because Krishna says it's rahasyam, it's very confidential. But because you're a devotee and because you're my friend, you will very easily be able to understand this knowledge. Therefore, I'm not intelligent enough is not an excuse for not going on the spiritual journey.